It unfolded in a setting designed to feel safe. A casual live broadcast with an easy rhythm, familiar prompts, and an audience settled into the comfort of predictability. Nothing about the moment suggested disruption. Then Heughan responded to a question that normally invited deflection, and instead of sidestepping it, he confirmed it outright. The silence that followed stretched longer than the words themselves. What made the moment land so hard wasn't volume or spectacle, but context. Live broadcasts offer no mercy. There are no edits, no pauses for recalibration, no quiet rewrites once the truth is spoken aloud. Sam appeared to register this a heartbeat too late, his expression shifting as the weight of his own words settled into the space. Viewers felt it instantly. Something permanent had just occurred. The name he confirmed only deepened the shock. Brynn Whitfield was not part of the familiar rumor ecosystem fans had learned to navigate. She existed outside the carefully curated orbit most followers associated with Sam's private life. That distance made the confirmation hit harder. For years, Sam's romantic narrative had been defined by absence rather than presence. Interviews followed a predictable pattern, personal questions met with humor, charm, or polite redirection. Fans learned to interpret silence as intention, believing privacy was not temporary but foundational. That consistency created a sense of order, even if it was built on restraint. The live confirmation shattered that order in seconds. Comments flooded the screen faster than moderators could react, swinging wildly between disbelief and celebration. Some viewers replayed the moment immediately, convinced they must have misunderstood. Others dissected Sam's tone, searching for clues as to whether the confirmation had been planned or impulsive. What stood out most was what didn't happen. There was no retraction, no clarification, no attempt to soften the statement. Sam continued as if the truth required no cushioning. That calm continuation reframed the moment, making it feel intentional rather than accidental. As soon as the broadcast ended, the clip escaped its original context. Within minutes, it was circulating across platforms, stripped of pauses and surrounding conversation. Headlines formed before official responses could catch up, framing the moment as a public declaration. The speed left no space for nuance. Fans began asking why this confirmation happened now. Timing in celebrity narratives is rarely accidental, and this moment felt deliberate. Some speculated fatigue, exhaustion from years of dodging the same questions. Others believed it was control, a choice to end speculation by stating facts plainly. Whatever the motive, the decision to do it live carried a sense of finality. Beneath the excitement and outrage lay a quieter realization. By confirming a relationship publicly, Sam disrupted an unspoken agreement with his audience. That agreement was never articulated, but it shaped expectations on both sides. Breaking it live ensured there would be no retreat. The shock also exposed how deeply fans had invested in the mystery itself. For many, the absence of information had been part of the appeal, allowing imagination to safely fill the gaps. Confirmation replaced possibility with reality, and reality is harder to emotionally negotiate. The discomfort wasn't only about surprise, but about loss. As the night wore on, reactions evolved from shock to interpretation. Viewers replayed the clip not to verify what was said, but to understand why it was said that way. The focus shifted from romance to agency, from gossip to intent. Sam hadn't merely confirmed a relationship. He had chosen the terms under which the world would learn about it. By the end of the first wave, one truth became undeniable. This was not a polished reveal crafted to satisfy everyone. It was a blunt acknowledgement delivered without preparation or padding. And in choosing that path, Sam signaled that whatever followed would unfold on his terms, not those built by years of silence. The aftermath carried a different intensity. What began as a single moment quickly became a collective reckoning across fan spaces where emotions ran deeper than curiosity. Celebration collided with anger, disbelief, and quiet disappointment, often within the same conversation. The divide wasn't about whether the confirmation occurred, but about what it represented. Much of the backlash centered on expectation. For years, Heughan had established a public rhythm that suggested boundaries were fixed and enduring. Fans adapted to that rhythm, learning to respect silence as part of his identity. When that silence broke live, it felt less like an update and more like a rupture. As discussions intensified, attention turned to motive. Why choose a live setting, knowing it offered no safety net and no chance for clarification? Some argued exhaustion, the inevitable cost of deflecting the same questions year after year. Others believed it was strategy, the most unfiltered way to shut down speculation permanently. The name at the center of the storm complicated everything further. Brynn Whitfield was suddenly pulled into a narrative she had not authored. Thrust into scrutiny from an audience unprepared for her presence, comparisons and assumptions surfaced immediately. The imbalance of familiarity made the reaction feel both unfair and inevitable. Supporters were quick to point out how often partners of public figures are reduced to symbols instead of people. In this case, Brynn became a stand-in for change itself, representing the end of a long-held illusion. That role invited criticism unrelated to her actions and rooted entirely in audience projection. It revealed how quickly empathy dissolves under unmet expectation. Meanwhile, Sam's silence after the broadcast spoke loudly. In an industry conditioned to respond instantly, choosing not to explain felt intentional. There were no interviews to soften the moment, no statements to guide interpretation. By refusing to reframe the narrative, he allowed the truth to exist without negotiation. That refusal forced fans to confront their reactions without reassurance. Emotions surfaced honestly, exposing how personal the connection had become. Some recognized their sense of loss stemmed from imagined closeness. Others struggled to release a narrative they had protected for years. Industry observers quietly noted that transparency at the wrong moment can be more destabilizing than secrecy. Long-term fame depends on consistency, and deviation invites turbulence. By confirming the relationship openly, Sam accepted that turbulence rather than avoiding it. As days passed, shock gave way to reflection. Conversations shifted from blame to understanding, acknowledging the emotional labor required to maintain a curated public image. Fans began examining how admiration can evolve into ownership when stories stretch across years. The moment became less about romance and more about boundaries. A difficult question lingered beneath the discourse. If silence had protected everyone for so long, what did its end reveal about the cost of that protection? The confirmation didn't erase the past, but it reshaped how it would be remembered. A decade of restraint now carried new meaning. The impact extended beyond a single relationship. It underscored how live moments strip away the illusion of control, exposing truth in its rawest form. By choosing that vulnerability, Sam disrupted expectations built collectively over time. The discomfort that followed was the price of that disruption. Ultimately, the significance lay not in who he loved, but in how he chose to speak. A live confirmation left no room for revision, forcing honesty to stand unfiltered. For fans, it marked a shift from fantasy to reality, from speculation to acceptance. And for Sam, it signaled a willingness to move forward without hiding, even if the path ahead remained uncertain. What remains now is a quieter understanding that will take time to settle. Live moments have a way of dissolving illusion, leaving only what cannot be edited or undone. This confirmation didn't close a chapter so much as reveal how carefully that chapter had been managed. And in that exposure, both the audience and the man at its center were forced to step into a reality far less predictable than the story they thought they knew.